On this episode, we're diving into day 2 of our Disneyland adventure packed with classic rides, epic snacks, park hopping thrills, and the world of color. Today's April 29th, 2025, and this is episode 767 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys!
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, get the latest theme park news, as well as live streams from the parks and resorts, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Are you ready for your bucket list trip? Our trusted partner, MEI Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today. Everybody knows how much I love sweets, and if you're looking to add a sweet twist to your summer snacking, check out Wonder Maid's Marshmallows Across America collection. They're crafting 50 unique marshmallow flavors, one for each state, and even ask fans to vote in a marshmallow election to decide which flavors best represent their home. From Florida's tangy key lime pie to Colorado's campfire-inspired Rocky s'mores, these handcrafted treats are a delicious way to taste your way across the U.S. Plus, Wonder Maid's owners are even traveling to all 50 states this year to celebrate this journey. You can grab these amazing marshmallows online at wondermaid.com or swing by their shop at Disney Springs. Trust us, these aren't your average marshmallows.
Well, it's been an interesting few days now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Those of you that follow us on social, you know exactly what we're talking about. And we are talking about our new member of the family.
Yeah.
Mr. Thor Odinson.
Yes.
AKA a new puppy, which we don't know. So we adopted. We didn't shop. And we adopted from SAFE, which is really cool because it stands for Save Animals from Euthanasia.
Yeah.
So we went, there was apparently it was not a hoarding situation on Facebook, and all these poor dogs had to go. This woman's health was bad because she was able to take care of all the dogs.
Wasn't it like 13 dogs?
There was a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. So we went and saw, and we wanted a female because we already have 3 boys, a cat, and 2 dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But
and Jules, we lost Jules. It's over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of my dog.
Yeah,
and she was wonderful. So I wanted another dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this one pulled at Jeremy's gut and heart strings and all the above. Because I looked at him and I said, "What does your gut say?" And he's like, "My gut says get him." So we did, and he is very, very. It is a he. He is very skittish around adults or humans.
Yeah, right now.
Period. Like children, any human. Dogs, he is great with. Loves them. But I was very fearful we'd have to take him back. But he gave me a sign on day 2 that we are okay. Yeah. And that nobody's gonna hurt him. I think he was hurt before.
Definitely.
They say he's like a year old. We're not sure yet. He
has a puppy face.
He does.
He's very small. It's a Jack Russell.
Yeah.
As far as we know, I think it's mixed with something else, but it is. Yeah. So it's been an exciting. We recorded Thursday, and then Friday decided to go get breakfast and a dog, apparently. So our weekend has been busy. But we're here to talk about day 2 of the Disneyland trip. If you did not catch opening day, we'll call it day 1, our travel day. We talked about Candy Cane Inn, lunch at Naples.
And today's exciting because we're talking about parks.
Yeah, we're going to talk about parks today.
Woo!
So I didn't know this, of course, but it makes so much sense now. John reached out to me. Naples and Via Napoli have the same executive chef. So it makes sense why they had the prosciutto and melon pizza, why it's so delicious, why I could put it up against Via Napoli because it's the same executive chef. So something we did not know, but that's why. Yeah, that's why we got wonderful folks like John. So go back, listen to that episode first if you haven't. This is going to be day 2. Then we'll do day 3 and day 4 in the next 2 episodes. But we do get to talk about the parks.
Yes, we do.
We're finally making our way there. So, we mentioned when we were booking this package that we got Lightning Lane multi-pass included.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about all this?
Yeah, I'm just going to lay it out now real quick. And then, we took very one-worded notes throughout the whole weekend. Like very one-worded. It was as simple as one word of a ride, a snack, a restaurant.
Yep.
Took a couple photos just so we could both be fully present. So I didn't mark down like every single Lightning Lane that we acquired. But as we go through them, I'll probably remember most of them and say whether we got a Lightning Lane or not for that. So we'll let you know about that. But it doesn't operate the way that multi-pass and single pass operate in Disney World. It is not the 7 days or 3 days ahead of time. Pick 3 rides, scan. It is not like old school free fast pass is basically what Lightning Lane is now in Disney World. Mm-hmm. But out here, it's basically what Genie Plus was.
Right.
You cannot book until the day of. You only book one ride at a time, and you can't even book that first ride until you've scanned into your park.
Right.
So it's not a 7 a.m. wake up, let me grab a ride, and then go from there.
Nope.
Another major difference is MultiPass does not let you pick a window. It is whatever window is next. So it's harder, when we talk about like Radiator Racers over in Cars Land, you wake up first thing in the morning and you're thinking, I want to ride that this afternoon. We're going to Disneyland Park first. You just have to check throughout the day until it comes closer to a time you want. So just things to think about. Lucy and I kind of double teamed. She did a lot of the Lightning Lane work while we were there. Like for the most part, it was her a majority of the time grabbing our next ride. But you can get it as soon as you scan in. Another thing we noticed there that we'll get out of the way is there's not all these double touch points. So when you scan in for your Lightning Lane at that first touch point, you're pretty much ready to go. Within about a minute, I feel like the system catches up. You can book the next one. Mm-hmm. Finally, we'll preface today with I brought something home as just a cold or whether it's my allergies. So I sound like Rhonda sounded before we went on the trip.
You do.
So that's going on. And then, finally, remember, if you're new to this, the show or whatever, we've never been to Disneyland. Mm-hmm. This was a very, as you'll see, run and gun trip where we got a lot done in 3 days. We're probably going to forget maybe a few things that we did, and we're going to get some stuff wrong. Yeah. Plain and simple.
100%.
I mean, I think right now, if you dropped either one of us in the middle of either one of those parks, it would take us a bit to get our way around. Yeah. Like, we didn't even do things, I think, in a normal order or manner. We just did kind of what was making most sense at that time for us to do the things that we wanted, if that makes sense. So get all that out of the way. But let's start with heading down to the parks on that second day of our first park.
I'm going to go ahead and throw out, too, if you've caught up and you've been paying attention, at one point we were talking about getting PhotoPass.
Yes.
And we did not know, but because we bought Lightning Lanes... that photo passes were already included.
Yeah, with that. And not like just
really
the,
cool.
Not just the special ones. Like you can get with the different, I can't remember what they call it now. There's also gunk in my brain, I think. But yeah, it's not just like those specialty AI kind of generated ones, that you can do with in Disney World, like through the app and all.
Band.
Like this is legit. It's PhotoPass. It's included. So we knew that right away. But we had planned, like we said last episode, Disneyland Park. We still had to get park reservations. We had to. So we did Disneyland Park on that first park day, then California Adventure, then Disneyland Park again on the third day and final day, knowing we had Park Hopper.
Yeah, and of course, like hopping through the day too, which I thought we were going to do Disneyland all day, but I felt like we just kind of hopped through the...
We did. Again, it was kind of like what makes sense next, and whether that was... Here's a Lightning Lane we can do soon. It might not be in this park,
Right.
But again, we can walk 100 yards, if that, across the street, basically.
Right, which
do it in
was
California Adventure, knock out a couple things, come back.
Yep.
So we did. Let's just say that we didn't have a plan the way that I'm going to have a plan in a couple weeks here at Main Street 16 weekend when we're doing some of the parks with Rob and Tina and my friend Matt that's coming in.
Right.
Like I'm going to have to really have a set plan of what parks are we doing, around what time frame, what lightning lanes can we get ahead of time, where do we want to put multi-passes, the 2 days that we're doing parks, what day makes sense to do these two, what makes a day make sense to do these two. We kind of just went there and we went with the flow for the most part. So I think you'll be impressed by what we accomplished.
Yeah. So going to the morning and starting everything, we did go to bed a little on the earlier side, in my opinion, that night. And we woke up and were ready to get ready and go. And we were pretty much rope dropping, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, we were all eager to get up, and again, the time
we were
change.
excited.
You know, we got a 3-hour difference. Lucy and Caleb had a 2-hour difference, but we pretty much woke up and we were all like, "We're going to the parks today."
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, we are. So we got going.
Yeah. So it was awesome. We walked through. It was so neat to just be there. Like, holy crap, we're here, and it was super neat to go into the Main Street and see very similar.
Yeah. And one more thing before you get to what everybody wants to know, which is what we thought of the castle and seeing it. Magic bands. They only use Magic Band Plus out there, and they are registered to your account and to your park tickets completely separate from Disney World. So we took a bunch of Disney World Magic Bands. We bought that Haunted Mansion anniversary one day one and linked that. But basically, you can unlink and relink Magic Bands to different people and tickets, which is really cool. But every morning I had to take one of my Disney World Magic Bands that I wanted to wear that day, and it's not as like it was ready to roll. I had to go back into the account. I had to put in the number and link it. I had to assign it. I had to put a ticket to it. So just something else to note, because my biggest fear at first was just for us to have our first moment scanning into Disneyland Park, and there's an error, and they got to call somebody over and take our, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everything went very, very well.
It did, but it was very strange because there was no touch points as far as in like the world. It was all people using basically iPhones. Yeah. And then
taking a photo,
and then once you take the photo, then your photo pops up, and but still, like, it's still that person, and then they let you through, which is really interesting. Yeah. But
so we come under, you come right in, just like Magic Kingdom we're used to hundreds of times. You look up and there's the train station. You can go left or right. You come around that corner in that first, center with the flagpole, and you make your way around and you see the castle for the first time. Thoughts, emotions, feelings, seeing it finally for the first time.
It's just so cute.
It is.
It's so little. It's so funny because coming around Cinderella, it's just so grand, and you're just like, aw. Yeah. This one, it was just so cute, and like, oh wow, it's so little, and it looked like a Lego set. Yes. To me,
it does. It looked like a whole toy set.
It does, but it was super neat. Yeah. Like, it was super cool, and.
Everybody says how small it is, but it is hard to have perspective of it in photos or people telling you. Yeah. And when you really do come around that corner, you are like, oh, they're not kidding. Right. Did you cry? Did you tear up or get emotional?
No. I actually didn't. I don't know why.
I didn't either, because I think I was just so happy and joyful that we were there. There wasn't any part of me that was overwhelming of like.
I think I was just so like shocked. Like, yeah, we're really here. That's not like, there's the Emporium, but wow, that would be Casey's Corner. I think my brain was just like, okay, this would be this would be this in World, this would be, and I think I don't know. I don't know.
Well, here's what it's like, and we said the whole trip feels like a dream almost.
Yes, it does.
Like, I have to look back. Like, I mean, think about that. 1 week ago, we were coming home already,
which is crazy,
which is nuts. But I think that's when we first came down Main Street, you're looking at the castle, like you said. Well, that would be the Emporium, or that would be Casey's Corner. That would be the confectionery.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you're in a dream. You know, like nothing in a dream looks exactly the way it does in real life. It's almost though it felt like we were walking into Magic Kingdom and it was different, but the same. And you're looking around trying to figure it out. Like, wait, what is that?
Right.
Okay. And so I think that's what it was. Like, you don't just walk around this corner. It's a different wow moment, I guess. Yeah. It's not an overwhelming wow moment. Like the way that, you know, we saw the castle, Cinderella Castle again for the first time after COVID. Shutdowns, right? Yeah. When we came in that time and you turn the corner, I think because it's so grand, it's so familiar, it hits you in the feels. Yeah. All the feels to me were just like wonder and joy. Mm-hmm. You know, and we're, you know, looking at all the windows and reading those windows and what they have on them. And again, looking for familiar signs. Mm-hmm. So, but I think we started off the most perfect way possible. Oh, because we went straight in front of the castle. What do we do next?
Well, we got some photos because, first of all, we were pretty much rope dropping and there was hardly any photos being there.
And we found out they're included.
And right. Xander was the photo pass person, cast member, and he was absolutely incredible.
So great.
It was amazing because it was our first time, and he loved his job. Yeah. Loved his job.
We had a private photo shoot. It was one of those types of things.
It was so cool. And then, of course, you know, we took all kinds of pictures together, separate. And then just, the castle, it was really cool. And then from there, we were like, okay, well, you know, like, and I'm like looking at Lucy, like, now what? Like, where do we go? What do we do? And so I guess we went around, like, and it's so funny because, you know, you go around to the left side and immediately you see Adventureland and Frontierland, like the signs, like I feel like you could almost reach out and touch both of them with each hand. Like I think that was just, I'm just like still in awe about like how everything is just right there, and
it feels more condensed.
Yeah.
You know, and even once we walked into the lands felt more separated and segregated in a way I felt like than Magic Kingdom, where yes, they're very separated, but you can tell that they feel more wide open. They feel larger. They feel, when you're in, I feel like Adventureland at Magic Kingdom, you understand and know that Frontierland exists right next door. Here, it felt so contained. When you're in, like when we were in, for example, Adventureland, it feels like you're in Adventureland. The same way it feels like when you're in a Galaxy's Edge or a Toy. You know what I mean? The lands felt more built for the purpose of that land than as part of a larger theme park. Okay. Maybe if that makes sense. Like that's where the focus was. Like at no point in that area. Now it starts to spread open. Once you get around to the Rivers of America, you come out and there's New Orleans Square and all that stuff.
Oh, that was super cool.
But yeah, I don't know. There was something about it that just, you got in there and you're like, you're in it. Yeah. So what did we went to first? Because now we had, at this point, we had grabbed a Lightning Lane, and I believe that we had grabbed it for Haunted Mansion. I want to say, or it might have been Tiana's, but it wasn't going to be the first one or two rides that we did, because rope drop here, from what we could tell, because we did it almost the 3 days, isn't this mass Black Friday looking crowd waiting out for an hour and a half prior. Like, even by the time we're showing up just a minute or two after 8 a.m. to scan into the front, there's not hordes of people the way that you see going into rope drops at Disney World. Yeah. It is much more chill. Yeah. It doesn't feel, I didn't see people running and racing to get to certain attractions, or, you know what I mean? It just seems like you showed up almost any time of the day, but the wait times are going to be crazy and ridiculous low. Yeah. So where did we head to first? Because it was it was a walk-on.
I think we were heading around that way, and Jungle Cruise was a walk-on. So we were like, okay, well, let's go ahead and do that. Mm-hmm. So we did.
thoughts on Jungle Cruise.
I just started to say, are we moving on already?
We're going to talk about every ride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do our ride comparisons because I think it's the best way to do these. There's no point for us to go, well, Jungle Cruise is a ride and you go in a jungle. Like, we know what Jungle Cruise is. You probably know what it is. So we'll talk more about comparisons between Disney World's version and Disneyland's version. Both opening day attractions. So Land has been there since 1955. World has been here since 1971. How did you like Disneyland's version of Jungle Cruise, and how did you feel it compared, good and bad, to our Jungle Cruise?
I think it's longer, for one.
It is not.
It is not.
7 minutes shorter.
Stop it. Wow. All right.
The reason I
It
think
felt
that comes
longer.
so surprising is because
The tomb?
it is, you don't have the temple and all that you go through,
Right.
which of course is, but everything else is pretty much the same, except at breakneck speed.
Oh, yeah. That was weird. So now I'm remembering completely.
And that's the other thing, got to remember, guys, a lot of these, and we'll tell you, we rode one time. Some of the rides we did get to go back and ride multiple, but yeah, this is one we rode twice, but we also have to take hundreds of rides of Disney World and 1 or 2 rides in Disneyland and now kind of separate them in our brains to say what was different at each and what did we enjoy or not enjoy.
And I remember the very first ride because I was like, maybe it was the first of the day, and because it was like rope drop, it felt the speed was very quick through. And they were talking very quick.
Yeah. To keep up with the speed of going past scenes, they had to keep up with the commentary.
But I also felt like they were like, and I was very kind of hard to understand. So we did ride it a second time, which was really cool because we rode it at night.
Yep.
And it was the exact
Still
same.
Fast
paced, everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I prefer Disney World over the Disneyland. But I'm still shocked that it's slower. I mean, it's a shorter ride.
Right. If it was paced the way that World's is, I think it would be the same length.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so fast paced. That's what I think makes it so much shorter. And yeah, I agree with you. I like World's, to me, is the Jungle Cruise. This was like the Jungle Race.
And I will say the backside of water, like, it's a little waterfall.
Yeah, it is.
It's not like it's not like World.
Yep.
So
yeah.
The tomb, didn't like do anything to me. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad we have one.
Yeah, because they don't have that there. So there isn't that indoor area, the dark.
I did like the ride and all the. I did like the.
Oh, still loved it.
Super
but
cool.
yeah, if we were doing a head-to-head battle, I think we would both pick Disney World.
Correct.
So from here, went around. You're going to start to come into the New Orleans Square area, and there is Pirates of the Caribbean sitting right on the left. It is so unassuming.
Yes.
Because it's a facade of like a building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it isn't the way like Pirates at Magic Kingdom is very set up outside for you're kind of about to go into this fort or castle. Here's what's going to happen. This was pretty much close to a walk-on. Again, all queues for the most part are outdoor.
Yes, that is the one thing that was very different for us.
Yeah.
All the queues are outside in Land, and all of them are indoors at World. So
And they are tight.
Yes, but when you were walking indoors, then you're pretty much walking
usually
into
pretty
the
much
ride.
on the ride. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a walk-on, and this was amazing.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved this one. We rode this a couple of times as
I
well.
think we ended up doing it 3 times possibly.
Did we? Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
Because I think we grabbed a lightning lane for it too.
Right.
I absolutely loved this one. It's longer.
Yeah, this I believe is 14 minutes longer.
Wow. Okay.
And why? Remember, there's plenty of people have never seen or ridden this ride.
Well, you go inside and it's 2 drops instead of just 1, and you go through the bayou first, which is funny because that really reminds me of almost like a Tiana's.
Yeah.
But that's where the Blue Bayou is, where you can eat. So it's very similar comparing to, I guess, like the Three Caballeros ride and the San
Helen. It's that same feeling.
Right.
And it's at the beginning of the ride.
Yep.
And again, these are things like I knew Blue Bayou is in Pirates. I thought it was at the end. I didn't know how it sat.
Yep.
I knew this one was longer, but I mean, there's this whole introduction of going through the bayou and these different drops and, you know, all this other scenery before you actually get into
like
the big
pirate
boat battle, I'll say, you know, when you're going through the town and all of that. Just like Jungle Cruise, I like Disney World's because it's slower. But if I think Disneyland's was slower, they'd be pretty equal. This isn't very equal. This isn't even a fair game to Disney World. Yeah. This is leaps and bounds better. Yeah. From the way that you walk indoors first, and it's the end of the ride coming around. So you're seeing boats come around in the water right there. Right. Yeah, the smells, the sounds, that outdoor-indoor feel of going through the bayou at the beginning, the multiple drops, and then just all the scenery in it is just, everything is done so perfect. Yeah. And it's longer. Like, so they took something, because we'll ride Pirates at Disney World every time we walk past if it's 20 minutes or under.
100%.
And I would still do the same and it's a lengthy ride. I would do the same for this.
Yeah.
Like I could ride this over and over and over again. I thought it was just absolutely outstanding. And from here then, like we're hitting the classics to start. So from here, while the ride has changed, you know, you can consider Splash Mountain was a classic, even though it wasn't an opening day or anything, but we headed over to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So these open within a few months of each other. They're pretty much being, you know, redone and refurbed and reskinned around the same time. Of course, we have ridden the one at Disney World multiple times now, you know, probably 24 or so. This is the same, but again, slight differences. So how did you feel about their version of Tiana's? We can start one with...
you
again,
sit by yourself. There's not two people.
Let's start with the log and the queue leading up to it. You still get some of you don't have all the outdoor queue that we have here, but most of the indoor is lined up pretty much the same. You have the news articles, and you have the little kitchen where she's making beignets. You kind of go down that salt mine area, and then you board into this completely different log flume. Flume, right?
Right, and it is just where it is one person behind each other. And what's very different to this one, there's no, like, nothing's keeping you in. Right. In my opinion.
This is, if you've done Dudley Do-Rights at Islands of Adventure, you know, in Orlando, it's very similar to that ride vehicle. It's like a metal framed ride vehicle on the inside. And there's nothing really keeping you where you're supposed to be. Right.
This one is, very similar, but holy crap, it gets you so much more wetter.
It really does, yeah.
Like, man, I was really wet.
Yeah, like we all were. And feet, because water is splashing up inside of this thing.
Yeah, like, it was. It was sad because it was cold for us the entire time. So once I rode that, I'm like, I'm one and done. Like I am not getting back on this.
Yeah, we would have planned it if we had planned to ride it again. We would have planned it before we were heading back immediately for a break.
100%.
So we could change.
100%.
Yeah, but what do you think about the rest of the ride and the comparisons? Because it's pretty similar, but
I just started to say, it is pretty similar, right?
It is, but this one again, it feels more intimate. It feels more closed in, which to me immersed you more within it, and there's not nearly as many blank, dark, nothingness scenes the way we have in Magic Kingdom, where there are some moments like here. Pretty much, if your head was on a swivel the whole time, you're seeing something. Yes, there are moments in the Disney World one now where you know you're looking at blank walls or you're going through some kind of blank spaces. This one did not. So again, it felt so much more fast paced because there was no room for almost rest. I preferred it. Yeah.
I'll agree.
As far as ride goes, I prefer this over Disney
I'll
World's.
Agree because, too, of how wet you get. And normally, you know, California is warmer, too, like Florida. So if it was a hot day, this would have been amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, we would have probably gone back and done it in the afternoon.
100%.
Or something. But yeah, otherwise we would plan for a break. But
Yeah.
this one to me isn't as comparable as a Pirates to Pirates, like where I think they were so vastly different in many ways. This is pretty similar. I just liked it because there weren't the blank scenes, and it felt like it moved a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Now, next, we rode this multiple times, and I think there's some major differences here too. Yeah. Where do we go to next?
The Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
I loved it because the house, I mean, it's the new movie. Like I felt like I was walking into the house of
the newest live
movie.
action.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Of course, it's the OG.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. So, because this one opened in 69 and ours opened in 71. The stretching room was really cool because you're literally going down the elevator. Like you feel yourself moving, which was really cool.
And there was something about it that made the stretch feel more realistic.
Yeah.
Because somehow
it really was?
when it somehow changed the force perspective where if you do go and watch the latest Haunted Mansion live action movie, when they show that stretching room in there, I don't know. There's something about it that truly feels like it is stretching upward, especially as it gets to that end part as it's filling out. I don't know what it is, but it felt so much more realistic.
Yes, it did. And then after getting out of the stretching room into the hallway of the pictures where we're actually in World, you're in the ride.
Yeah, that's where the ride started. Is that hallway of photos?
You're walking
in the bus that follow you.
Oh yeah, I don't know why you keep calling it that. It's so weird to me. The heads.
We call them busts.
Okay, well,
they could
it's
be
very
called that.
strange.
Human heads doesn't sound.
Well,
that
I don't
much
mean
better.
human.
Come
heads.
around the corner, just a bunch of human heads hanging out.
Well,
and they follow you.
Anyways, it was just really cool because I felt like I was in the house.
Yes,
I felt like it was in the movie, in the house, and like walking and the pictures you have, like and then the stone heads.
Stone.
That's what I'll call them. I don't know. It was just super cool. And then you get on the ride, and it just is still a great ride. I do miss a picture.
Yes, I do agree.
I am
I didn't
sad
know that they didn't
about
have
that.
A photo in this
and
one.
then I was scared that the little woman wasn't there, and then there
that
she
bled
was.
out a little different at the end.
Yep.
Yeah,
I loved it.
This one's probably going to get me hate mail. I like the outside of ours at Magic Kingdom better.
Wow.
I don't know why. I just do. I think because of the way that it sits up and away, whereas this one, you're just like, oh, here's this haunted mansion right here. You know what I mean? It's just right there.
Okay.
So to me, it doesn't feel as like scary from the outside, but I really love that starting of walk because this was, originally Walt wanted this to be a walk-through attraction.
Oh, yeah.
And you kind of get that at the beginning when you go past those paintings and you go past the heads. And when you're boarding the Doom buggy, there's kind of this light transition of going back outside and then coming back in through. I don't know if we're going to get the full updates that their bride got, because they got rid of the axe. She's now holding flowers, but the effects and all on it are super amazing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Hatbox is in a different location there.
And he moves.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
Why would they not do that here?
Yeah.
And it's the lightest of movement. It's that, I'm very, I don't stand still. If I'm in a space where technically my feet are still, the rest of my body is, it's moving slightly, almost like swaying a little bit.
Okay.
And that's what this was doing.
Yeah.
So it gave it much more of a realistic feel. So which Haunted Mansion version do you prefer? Theirs?
I don't know. That's really hard because I love both of them and they're both different, which I absolutely love. So can I just take both of them?
You can.
And can we just put another Haunted Mansion in World?
Of this one?
Yeah,
so
of the exact same one. Yeah. That's what I want.
I'd have to give the nod to Disneyland.
I
really
do too.
Yeah. I just would. And here's the thing.
I think because it's obviously the first, I know it was the original.
One, right.
Right. I know it was the original one at Magic Kingdom, World. And the reason I say that, because I don't want to keep saying Magic Kingdom, because when we were leaving, the weirdest thing,
What original one?
The train was like saying...
Oh, Magic Kingdom.
Magic
the
Kingdom.
train.
It was weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
Sorry, and I was saying the original one, like...
Disneyland is the original, but it did not open with Disneyland.
Correct.
It was such a hit that they opened it and put it in Disney World on opening day.
Correct. That's where I was going with all that. So that's where I just have to I will give Disneyland the better one because it just is really cool.
And I know in the first episode I kept saying vibe, and it's the same with these couple classics that we already did with the Jungle Cruise, with the Pirates, with the Haunted. It has there's something about it that makes it just feel original.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But what's so weird is when these rides have more to them and in my minds are better, it makes them feel like they came second to Disney World. Like they almost, you know what I mean? Like they built Disney Worlds and said, all right, now we're going to build this in another park. Let's make it a little better. Maybe on Pirates, we put a restaurant in it and it wouldn't feel almost that World came second in many of these instances, and they dumbed them down a little bit.
And why?
Right.
Why? Why couldn't they do...
Because they had all the space. They had, now, to be fair, Pirates did not open on opening day in Disney World.
Right.
So they were limited to some space, and that very well may be the reason that one's so much shorter. And then, of course, as they build Haunted Mansions in other parks like Mystic Manor and Phantom Manor and all those, they are changing them a bit. But, yeah, I kind of wish we had the copycat over here. And the other thing we kept talking about, you can tell how much more attention I feel like is paid to the detail and guest satisfaction of the rides in Disneyland. And I think Lucy brought this up first. In Disney World, you have all these big elaborate queues and interactive queues because you got to have somewhere to put all the people.
Yeah.
At Disneyland, knowing it is not normally near as busy, that it is more of a locals park, you're not as focused on where do we stuff people. It is how can we make this attraction the best as possible.
Right.
Because also, go back, and this could easily be some of the reason, go back and let's just say they could have built the exact same Pirates, the exact same length ride in Disney World. 14 minutes longer. Right?
Right.
That's that many less people you're getting through an hour because the ride is now 14 minutes longer. So I really think it felt like Disneyland was focused on quality and Disney World is often focused on quantity of getting people through. And
I mean, think about it like this too. Like if you did have a copy and paste, like what we're about to talk about next, then why would you want to visit all these other places?
Such a wonderful point.
So, I mean, I am glad they're different. I really am.
Yeah.
And again, like,
and we get to have both. That's the thing that's so amazing.
And I just started to say, I wouldn't take Disneyland Haunted Mansion over mine and World. I just would know that I can go visit.
You're glad you just exist in a world where you can go to both of them.
Absolutely.
I'll take you up on that one.
Absolutely.
Now, walking into Galaxy's Edge, which is what we did next, is I made an Oga's Cantina reservation for like 10 that morning.
Yep.
Not really necessary, but I figured maybe if I make one, we'll go in there.
Yeah.
We know that Galaxy's Edge is basically a carbon copy of World.
Yes,
they were built at the same time.
Yep.
They open very close together. The entrance and exit are the only things that are slightly different. Mm-hmm. So let's start with, how did you feel about transitioning into Galaxy's Edge and Galaxy's Edge being at Disneyland Park?
So that is where I could get lost and go, I'm at World. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, no, wait, I'm not. But when I was in there, because it is literally like copy and paste. Yeah. And like walking.
Except for that one entrance, the one area next to Rise of Resistance, remember, is just slightly laid out different.
Right.
But by the time you get to the market,
yeah,
and over to Smuggler's Run, Oga's, Droid D, all of that is carbon copy.
Right. And when I was over there and looking around, I just was like, oh, and it was super weird because when we were walking out, I expected Toy Story Land.
Right.
And then it wasn't. And I was like, okay, now I'm back in land. Like it just... It was really like, again, dreamy.
Yeah.
Like very dreamy. Like,
does it belong?
Sure. Yeah.
In Disneyland Park,
I mean,
you think?
I don't see why it doesn't. I mean, I guess there's just so much difference that why would it not?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't think it belongs. I think it would belong in California Adventure. However, they did such a incredible job of blending it in where it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb.
No. You don't even see it. Like,
no, you don't. You don't see it really from like they did a wonderful job of sticking it in a park that they probably didn't want to. Like they probably wanted it in California Adventure.
Yeah.
You know, California Adventure is very similar to Hollywood Studios where we got it.
Right.
So the fact that that's where they had the space and they made do with it, I think they did an incredible job.
Yeah.
So we did go do Smuggler's Run.
Yep.
Just because we could. I think that one we got a last minute lightning lane for and pretty much walked on.
We didn't do Rise of the Resistance.
No, we never did end up doing Rise because it was either waiting or it was paying for a single pass.
Okay.
And knowing it is the same ride.
Right.
This isn't the difference between, well, we have Jungle Cruise, we have Haunted Mansion.
Right.
It is the same ride.
Right.
There aren't differences. Same with Smuggler's Run. So Caleb and I think did a pretty good job of piloting.
Yeah. Me and Lucy were the fixing the. We didn't want to do the guns, and there was a couple that son and
his mom that had
he
never
wanted
rode.
to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys were like, you can be the gunners.
I didn't care.
You might not have seen that. You know that Mando and Grogu are coming to Smuggler's Run next year when the movie comes out next in May.
Right.
Well, they did announce that it is going to follow a little bit of the Star Tours route where there will be multiple missions.
Nice.
The engineer now gets to help select what mission you go on and make sure that little baby Grogu is okay.
Aww.
So the engineers are going to have slightly different roles a year from now, which will be cool.
And that will be for us as well?
Yes. Nice. So
very
very excited for that.
That is.
So there we went over to Oga's Cantina.
Mm-hmm.
Again, feels the same. We got sat in a booth with another party.
Yep.
Joseph was our server. He was awesome.
Yeah.
Did not care for Rhonda ordering a water.
Yeah, that was funny. Like
they're really playing the parts up.
Really
it's great.
Yeah. Because he said I'd have to go get it from somewhere, and then when he brought it, he was like, "Okay, like don't tell anybody," and it was just
it was great. They played up the parts.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I was like, "Oh gosh."
It's busy, but it's definitely not as busy and not as loud, and it doesn't feel as crammed in there. Now, again, we were lucky we had a booth. We weren't having to stand at that moment. We went back another night, but it doesn't feel as nuts in there, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Lucy and Caleb over or this morning, actually, they had the Jedi Mind Trick, which we used to love. Was one of our favorites. That has the botanical grapefruit and rose vodka. It's got, the Caracal in it, the blue Caracal, white grape juice, lime juice, grapefruit bitters, $17.50. I was looking at price differences between theirs and ours.
Yeah.
Most of them are within about 50 cents of each other.
Okay.
So no glaring things where either one is crazy more expensive.
Wow.
Caleb got the Angry Bloody Rancor. Have you had that in the past? It's their Bloody Mary version.
I don't remember, but I feel like I might have.
Yeah, because it comes with the spicy candied bacon that I think I remember eating before.
I think so. So I'm sure I did in the very, very beginning of it. But then once, we really were going, I got other things.
So I got one that I don't believe we have in World, and if we do, it's new since the last time we went, and that's the Mugen tea. This is on their concoctions without alcohol. This is Gold Peak unsweetened tea, chocolate milk, vanilla and cinnamon, topped with vanilla whipped cream, cinnamon, and sugar-dusted cereal for $8. This was like a cinnamon toast crunch chai tea latte.
Yes, it was. Yes,
it was delicious.
Yes, it was.
Honestly, one of my favorite beverages I had all weekend, and it was perfect for the morning.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I would go in there and get this if we were going around dinner time or something.
Yeah.
Like we did the next time. But I loved it. I don't think we have it here. If we do, I'm getting it. We'll go back and get this.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And that's the reason I got water, because we've all had everything, and I just didn't want anything. They had the blue milk, and we went at a later time with a cookie on top, and Jeremy actually got that because we wanted that, but I wanted to share it. So, and again, at this point, I just didn't want anything.
Yeah. And again, we had a budget for our food, our merch and everything, but we didn't really keep track once we were there. So I think we kind of mentally, in those instances, were like, there's no reason to spend another $15 on something we've had plenty of times. Let's get something we didn't.
Yep.
Same when we sat down at some of the restaurants. It was like, we'll get maybe one drink each. There's no reason to get more and just spend that money if it's not something that's like crazy different.
100%.
Now, they do have 2 food items here. One of them that I thought was the same as the pretzel cheese bread that we got back in World, but it is different.
It is.
This is their garlic cheese 5-blossom bread with spicy cheese sauce. It's warm garlic Parmesan pretzel knot and chili de arbol cheese sauce for $11.50. So it is not the big like bread bowl pretzel bread bowl that they've cut in and stuffed with the cheese mixture. This is actually 2 giant garlic pretzel knots with this spicy dipping sauce. What did you think of these? I
liked it a lot because like you could eat just some of the bread and not have the spice.
Yeah.
Or you could dip it in and have some of the spice. I thought it was fantastic.
It was a perfect pretzel.
Yeah.
And the garlic and the parm on it, I loved it. Considering there's another pretzel item that is somewhat similar that we got later.
And
we'll talk about, but it was not compared to this, I don't think. And we'll get to that when we get to it, but absolutely loved it. I would.
We got it again.
Yeah, I would take this or the bread that we have currently. Either one I'd be happy with. If they brought this to our menu in World and they got rid of the one that they have, I'd be happy with this.
Yeah.
The other one we got were the spiced Rocher pods. This is seasoned edamame, sliced cucumber, spicy citrus gochujang dip for $12.
Yeah, it tasted like sushi when you dipped it.
It was like a sushi sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost like a spicy mayo.
Yeah.
And cold steamed edamame, and these cold cucumber slices with this seasoning, a little spicy kind of seasoning. I loved these.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I wish we had these as well. Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to our last ride of the morning in Disneyland Park. This actually opened in 1979, just about a year later. Magic Kingdom got it. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. We definitely have some differences here.
Oh my gosh. This ride.
They're not even close.
Okay. So right now they took all the track off. They are refurbing at World. I hope that when they put everything back and do everything, it is just like Land.
Yeah.
Land is wonderful. We rode that a couple of times too. It's still your 2-person next to each other ride. It's fantastic.
It's smoother.
Yep.
It's a bit more fast paced and I think thrilling. And the end kind of scene.
I mean, only maybe because it's smoother, maybe.
Maybe.
Because it seemed to me the same, I guess.
From a thrill level. But the end, when you're going up that near last incline and they're lighting the dynamite and you see these fuses next to you, follow your mine cart basically lit up until there's a huge explosion at the end in that final drop. I thought this was so much better than our version. And I agree. I hope we get the smoother ride.
Yep.
Which I'm sure we will with the track, and I hope we get the dynamite scene at the end. Okay, this is one I do wish we had just carbon copies. Like, I know you can say, oh, we can enjoy both Haunted Mansions, but I get to go to Disney World a lot, and I want to ride this a lot.
Yes.
I don't want our version anymore.
I agree.
We please trade? You guys have had it long enough. Give it up. Be fair to Florida and give us this version of Big Thunder because it is leaps and bounds better.
Yeah.
Like, not even close.
Yep.
So from here, we decided to head on over to California Adventure.
Because I wanted my treat.
Yeah. There was a specific treat that Rhonda wanted. We wanted to walk through and check out Avengers Campus before we specifically rode anything. We wanted to go kind of just look at Cars Land and do all that type of stuff. But we walked into Adventures Campus. We'll talk about that in a sec. At Terran Treats, Food and Wine Festival is over there now. This was specific for that. What was it?
It is the Crème Brûlée Churro. So this is pastry cream, strawberry coulis, and crushed brulee sugar on top of a churro that they have cut in half and made two.
Disneyland churro.
Yes, and a Disneyland churro. And it was $7.25. It was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. It was the little sugar and the pastry cream and the strawberry. I mean, it was a true creme brulee churro. It was amazing.
It had all those flavors of creme brulee. Everything just like, I don't know, transferred to that so well.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, I guess it was the pastry cream that tasted like creme brulee, like the sugar. I loved this thing.
Yes, me too.
And we never got a straight up churro, like just a plain churro, but this was their plain churro topped.
Yes.
And yes, these churros are leaps and bounds better than
100%.
Disney World. Like
100%.
I would get just plain churros here.
And I wanted
all the
to.
time.
Every time I wanted to, then I was like, I don't know, we were going somewhere else, or I wasn't like, I didn't want to eat it.
Right then,
you know,
And again, we ate a lot. We're only
Yeah.
just getting started here. If people are interested in trying what you possibly deem the best creme brulee you've ever had, where should they go? Because you had it last night.
Yeah, in St. Augustine, Jeremy took me to a nice dinner that was called
The Forgotten Tongue.
Forgotten Tongue. That's right. Yeah, I love the little hole in the walls at
This place
downtown
is awesome.
St. Augustine. It really was. The food was fantastic.
Most perfect classic creme brulee I think either one of us has ever had.
Yeah, it's really good.
I dreamed about it last night.
Did you
bit.
really?
You need to learn to make them just like
Oh,
you make good
okay.
creme brulee though.
I know.
But
I
you need
haven't
to get
made it
on
in a
that
while.
level somehow.
Okay.
All right. Avengers Campus.
That was super
How do you
cool.
feel about Avengers Campus as a whole? Because we didn't spend a lot of time in it as far as just like, let's just stand around and look at things. But we walked through it so many times.
Yes, we did.
We shopped. We'll talk about web slingers in a minute.
Yes.
Pym's. Like, what did you think of it as a whole and as a land, I should say?
I absolutely loved it. I thought it was really cool. I don't feel like I like quote unquote, as you say, you got it. Like how did you, I think you should probably explain it more.
Going into it, I knew like, it wasn't supposed to be all part of this storyline and with the MCU. It's not like we were going to get Stark Expo. We weren't going to get anything specific from the timeline and the MCU movies or anything. But I didn't really understand it. What is the point? It's Avengers Campus. I get it now. It feels like a college campus on orientation day that happens to be about like superheroes. You know what I mean? Like there's this energy to it that feels like a college campus. And there are characters walking around and walking through, also stopping for meet and greets. Now they stopped a lot of the show parts, but we saw Captain America. We saw walking up on the top of the building. Trying to think who else we saw come by there. Like Black Panther just walking through at times. Spider-Man, Iron Man.
Yep.
It has such a cool vibe to it.
Yep.
It feels like a college campus. I think they did a wonderful job. And then that translates so well into web slingers.
Oh my gosh.
So
Favorite
why
ride.
don't you talk about web slingers? This was Rhonda's favorite ride
This is my favorite
of
ride.
the whole trip.
Yes, it was.
We did it twice.
Yes, we did.
But so for this one,
And I could have done it again.
this would be the longest we waited for anything at 25 minutes at this point.
Oh, wow.
We already wrote all that stuff this morning, right? What'd you think about the pre-show?
I
ride?
loved the pre-show.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, I could just watch him all day
Yeah.
long. I could just, like, I love that he keeps his personal life personal, but I hate it too because I'm serious. Like, I could just watch him.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
He's just so
He's so
good.
Just, he's just such a great.
And he's so perfect in this Peter Parker role.
Oh my gosh.
You
I
know,
love it.
and-
Love it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was a universal ride.
It really was. And it was super weird because.
And I mean that in great ways.
Oh,
That's-
100%.
If this was all of a sudden at Universal Studios or Islands of Adventure, other than obviously it having Tom Holland in it, who they
Right.
would not have access to, you would think that Universal Creative developed this ride.
Yeah,
Based
because
on the pre-show, based on like
and the
everything
ride
about it.
vehicles, like
Yep.
it was crazy because I did not understand. I thought we were getting some sort of like thing you put on yourself,
you were
a gun,
getting-
something. But no, you just take your hands and you just sling these webs, and oh my god, it was so fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It's so fun, and oh my gosh, talk about your arms kind of hurting.
'Cause you got to think Toy Story Mania.
Yeah.
But you're not, you don't have this gun or
Right.
even Space Ranger Spin,
Yep.
where you have something physical. This is really your hands. And I will say this technology just blows my mind because it's not as simple as just flicking your hand out. I noticed that if I didn't extend my arm a certain way or point basically my wrist in a way you would to shoot webs, it didn't go where you wanted it to. And so once I took the time to like look, and I figured out if I punched, it actually did better because I extended and straightened my arm more. So I was awful at it. All three of you destroyed me both times we played it. But yeah, you're going through all these scenes, the 3D scenes, shooting the spider bots with your webs. Like, this was a blast. It's not my favorite ride there.
It was mine, and I got a web slinger shirt.
Yeah, you did.
I was so excited.
And you can buy wrist thing. You can basically buy web slingers.
I was thinking about it, but I was like,
and spider bots. We didn't get a spider bot.
Yeah,
you guys will be. Other than one sipper, which I did get the Captain America shield sipper. I did not get another sipper or popcorn bucket or what I'll call toy. All other merch was clothing.
Yeah. Because
the fact that I didn't come home with the spider bot or the web slinging thing, I'm impressed with myself. Let's just say we did good with that. But when this came out, I feel like it got so much hate that it wasn't a great ride. I think it's outstanding. I love every part of it.
I don't know why it got hate.
I don't either.
Because it was absolutely incredible to me.
Like, and I love the mixed use. Like, this is one, and that's why I say it's very universal. It is that mixed use pre-show of screens and physical set pieces.
Right.
But I like that they didn't go an easy route and just say, well, it's just going to be a set piece, or we're going to bring in a live actor the way they do at Universal. I like having that screen with Tom Holland so that he can be a part of it. And the storyline and everything sets up very, very well.
And even the queue, like outside, was great.
Yeah.
Like, it was just great. Like, the whole thing.
I loved it. It was so much fun.
It was so great.
All right, from there, we're going to head over to Pixar Pier. We're in California Adventure still. One of the things I had on my list that I really wanted was the sourdough bread. So they do have a small bakery tour that you can actually walk through. And yes, Rhonda, there are free samples at the front. The guy wasn't very like.
It was very strange.
Because Lucy's like, you can get free samples from him, and we're like, I think she's tricking us or something. Because the guy was just standing there with the basket, but I didn't know it had bread in it.
And when we did walk by,
he didn't like offer. He didn't say like, hey, would you like a piece of free bread?
Right.
But you can walk through this tour. You can see him making the bread. Right on the outside, there's a cart, and I got the Baymax sourdough loaf.
They also have Mickey heads.
They do have Mickey heads or just standard sourdough loaves. This is freshly baked. This is $12.49 for the Baymax.
Yeah.
And it is shaped like a Baymax. It's adorable, and it is delicious sourdough bread.
Yeah.
And for being fresh,
it was fantastic.
like we need to throw it away now, but it has no mold on it, and it is not hard. It's still a little bit is wrapped up in our pantry still, but it's not moldy. Like a lot of times, you get something like this, and the next day it's done. This still had the great sourdough flavor.
You ate some on the plane.
I did. I had it in my bag and I ate some on the plane. Find butter to go with it. Because I think salted butter with this would have just been incredible. So, but I would recommend at least going in and getting the free piece that Lucy told us we could get. We somehow didn't believe her. All right, from here, we got some rides to do, and we had secured a lightning lane for the Incredicoaster. So used to be California Screamin' a while back. Now themed over to the Incredicoaster with all Pixar Pier. I'm going to say this was my favorite ride all weekend.
And I'm sad you only got to ride it once.
Yeah, I wanted to get to it again, but I don't think anybody else was like dying to. And I just didn't want to take up y'all's time for something we didn't collectively as a group want to do. You know what I mean?
I enjoyed it very much. It was a wonderful ride, but because I had a sinus infection, it was in my left side of my teeth. And that's when you really know you have a sinus infection. And if anybody knows, you know. And when it shook me around, like, I felt it like in my teeth, and I did not like it because it made me fearful of like, is my teeth okay? I don't know. But motion, but you know, and of course I wore a patch the entire time. And also, my one friend, I think I've said this before, she goes on cruises and she's very no motion sickness, so she changes her patch every day. You're supposed to technically, according to the instructions, you put it on and you take it off on day 3. So with this and knowing I was going to ride all these rides, I actually took mine off on day 2 and put a new one on. But then left that last one on until day 3 because we were traveling home and I knew I'd be fine. So motion and everything. This was a great ride.
So long
and just fun.
It just kept
like,
going and going and going. And
except, like I said, my teeth. Like that's the only thing.
It is. I totally understand why it was called California Screamin'. Mm-hmm. And Incredicoaster is also a very fitting name.
Oh, 100%.
It's now easily one of my favorite roller coasters that I've ever done. And it has some bells and whistles. Like it's got one loop and it's got a couple of those tunnels and it's got some great like launches and
the water was working because Jossie asked us.
Yes, when you go down and it's almost like you splash through the water.
Yep.
It's one of those things that it is in theory a very simple air quote wooden roller coaster, but done to absolute perfection.
Yep.
It
great.
is so good. I loved it. And it's a lot of fun to watch from like a distance and just watch other people on it. And the length of it. I should have looked up exactly how long it is, but I'd put it in my top 5 coasters easily between ones that I've been on. So including Land, World, and Universal Orlando. Yeah. I'd put it up there. It was just awesome. Right outside of there when we were coming off, because I was just, I was trying to do some research, try some treats. They have a Jack Jack cookie Num Nums there stand. Now, they do have the Jack Jack cookie that we have at Hollywood Studios that is just an incredible deep dish, I guess.
Yeah.
Chocolate chip cookie.
We probably should have gotten that.
Just to compare. But we did get the shortbread cookie dipped in chocolate with the Jack Jack chocolate piece for $6.75.
This is called Fiery Jack Jack?
Yeah. Because remember he in Incredibles 2 when he's shooting the fire and stuff, that's like the little image of him on it. We went and sat at the Lamplight Lounge bar right there outside and ate some of this, had some of this. Did you like the cookie?
Yeah, it was
just
fine.
A good shortbread ice
It was
cookie.
just a good, shortbread. It was fine because I was sad because it was not as good as I was hoping like the Num Num cookie was.
Yeah, not Num Num cookie level, but it was good. Yep. I would get the Num Num cookie if I'm there.
100%. Yeah. Before we move on, we're going to go ahead and talk about the Mickey Wheel.
Yes.
Since we're in the island and since we're right there. And speaking of Lamplight Lounge, since you could see it. First of all, we did not ride it because really and truly we did not get an opportunity. And I think at the one opportunity you and I were going to try, it was closed.
Yes.
Because
correct.
of Color, World of Color coming.
Yep.
So, and honestly, and this will be in the next episode, so you'll have to wait and hear, but I would have done the standstill one or the fixed
because there's a fixed one and there's the one that swings.
Yes. And I know Jossie was like, no, you have to. I don't know. I was very nervous with that motion.
Well, I'll say none of the 4 of us wanted to ride it.
Yeah.
And when it comes down, none of the 4 of us wanted to ride it. The only reason Ron and I were going to try and make time to ride it was for research purposes for the podcast. Mm-hmm. But if we didn't do a podcast, it's not like any one of us was like, none of us wanted to ride it. I don't like those things. And as tall as they are, I've done the one at Myrtle Beach. I wanted to lie in the middle of the floor in the fetal position. And that's on a stationary one. I've done the one in Vegas before. I've done these things that were in more enclosed little cabins or whatever you want to call them, or gondolas. So it really came down to, if we do this, it is for the purpose of research, but we did not want to. Those things scare the living you-know-what out of me. But when we do go back, we will make a point to give it a shot that next time around. So Lamplight Lounge Bar, how do you like? So you've got Lamplight Lounge, and there's an upstairs area, downstairs area. We walked out to the bar. There is some other seating out there. It is the most perfect viewing of
it is.
the Death Wheel and Incredicoaster behind you there, sitting at the bar. We had they have some non-alcoholic drinks there.
Yeah.
What are I'll talk about the one I got first, the Goofball Island.
Which
this is from
Inside Out.
Inside Out, yeah. This is a Simply Fruit Punch, a Minute Maid lemonade, and raspberry puree for $8. It's it's fruit punch with lemonade and raspberry puree. There's nothing special to it. $8 I'm glad to see, because this isn't a zero proof drink. This is
Right.
definitely more of the non-alcoholic, catering a little bit more towards, I'd say, children than just people who used to drink and don't anymore and are looking for those flavors.
Yep.
This isn't it. But when you're sitting at a bar, something like this, you want something, and this was perfect.
I feel like mine was more on that side,
it
which
was.
is meant to be. And we think we found that from Up, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it's simply lemonade, watermelon, and berry puree and fresh mint, topped with soda water for $7.50. And mine was fantastic. It was very nice and refreshing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if there are no zero proof, or I will ask for a non-alcoholic mojito. And this was an elevated one, and I liked it a lot.
There are no non-alcoholic beers here.
No.
There were very few of those throughout as far as just the parks go. We did find some at some restaurants. We talked about at Ballast Point. We'll talk about some other ones. To me, if you like the hibiscus henna that is at Nomad Lounge, it is most similar to this drink. So if you don't drink alcohol, this would be the one to get here if you like that. Then Lucy and Caleb did decide to get some Korean-style chicken wings. It's kimchi, buffalo sauce topped with green onions and served with spicy cucumber. $24. These are wings that I believe are dipped in cornstarch and fried. So they have this very light coating on the outside, but it's not.
Ate one, I did not.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like your typical breaded wing or naked wing. It was more, but it wasn't like a tempura. It was just this very light. The way that they do the Morimoto's ribs, the way that they basically dredge those in cornstarch and fry them, it's very light and crispy. But they were very, very good.
Good.
We did some shopping and all from there, just kind of going around California Adventure, checking out a few things, and then I was trying to keep my eyesight from seeing into Cars Land. I was going to wait until we went at nighttime. But we had an opportunity to do Radiator Racers because Lucy went ahead and bought that first day. She went ahead and bought the single pass for us.
She did.
So we're like, all right, here's the time we can go. So I said, all right, it's daytime still. Don't care. Let's go see Cars Land. And so we walk into Cars Land. Oh. What do you think about Cars Land?
Well, first of all, you did put on the movie for us.
We did watch that recently.
And because of that, holy crap, I felt like I was in the movie. Yeah. It was absolutely amazing. Like, wow. Like, I mean, down to this was, and I get it. I totally get it now. And this was probably one of my favorite lands too.
Oh, 100%.
And then Radiator Racers.
Yeah. Yeah, it is one of the best themed lands, as everyone has said. It's done to such an incredible scale.
Yeah.
There are so many cars throughout that are all full size. Everything is to scale. Like, they didn't skimp on this at all.
This was amazing.
And then what's so great is having, these big red rocks and all this stuff as your background. Yeah. It's so perfect because it makes it look endless.
And it's hidden. Like, I don't know how they did that.
That's
either.
The other thing. It's amazing. It's the way that they're able to hide a lot
of
these lands until they really are these great reveals.
Yeah.
And every little detail. Cozy Cone and Flo's V8 Cafe and the Sergeant's Place and like all of this. And then you head down to do Radiator Racers.
Oh my gosh.
So let's talk about Radiator Racers.
Can we? I wish Test Track was not going to be Test Track 2.0. I wish they were just changing it to Radiator Racers. It is amazing.
It is. It's, it has that indoor part of kind of like Test Track.
Yep.
But there are full-size animatronic cars. Like the police car's mouth moves as the bumper.
So cool.
And they're so perfectly done. That Mater animatronic as you're coming around the one corner and he's in front of you.
Yeah.
And then he backs up. It's another animatronic that comes out of the back, but it's so seamless that it's like he's just following along with your car. And then it's so cool because you come towards the end part of the indoor and there's two sides.
Yes.
So one of them you get paint job.
Yep.
And we got that the first time.
Yep.
And you go through and it's like spritz, kind of like Test Track where you go through the one area with the smoke and the, you know what I mean? But they're spritzing like you're getting painted. Other side, they change the tires.
Cool.
Yeah. They change the tires and you feel the car lift up and you hear like the vroom, vroom.
And you smell tires.
You smell tires,
too.
Rubber and all.
And spoiler alert, we got this
the second time we rode at night.
And we did ride it at night.
Yeah.
And this was where Jeremy was talking about earlier with the lightning lanes. And poor thing, all day long. So literally, we were sitting at dinner.
Yeah.
And that's when he was like, all right, well, dinner's going to take us about an hour if I buy it now. And that's how like all day long it was. It was
Every
crazy.
return time was 5 minutes later.
It was crazy.
So, yeah, you just had to wait throughout the
Yep.
day. And if you wanted to ride it at 8:30 p.m., you were going to have to book it at about 8:25.
Yeah.
And then you come out of either getting your tires changed or you getting the paint job and you line up next to another car and you race.
Yes. And then we won.
We did win. And it's just amazing. There's so many twists and turns. You're going through this rock work in these mountains. It is so immersive. It's so fast paced, but exciting. Like
So cool.
I guess at the end, maybe we'll talk about our favorite rides between both coasts and if anything changed, but this shot up real quick.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and again, it's one of those you take as people that are not necessarily Cars fans. In fact, I just don't care for Cars. I really don't. We watched the first movie again. About halfway through, I was like, okay, this is probably enough, isn't it? I'm just not a fan.
I think Lacey wanted to change it, and we were like, we were watching that, and we were like, that's
yeah,
all
but
right.
I was okay. But this, don't care. Like, you could despise the movie, and it wouldn't matter. You will love this land, and you will love this ride. Or there's just something wrong with you.
Yeah, but I would suggest watching the first one.
Yes, it will definitely
because
connect that land better.
you will connect, and not only will you connect, you will feel like, holy crap, they made a live action Cars movie.
Yeah.
And
like that would be the set if they
Yeah.
legit made a movie.
Yeah.
They could just go film it there and use the animatronics.
Yep.
Just incredible. I loved it.
And since we're in Cars Land, another downfall that we just didn't get a chance to do was eat at the Cozy Cone. And when we say a downfall, these are just things we are like putting on it's like a Costco list. And we're like, oh man, we didn't get this at Costco. We didn't get this at Costco.
We'll get it next trip.
We're going to get it next trip.
Yep.
So like we are going to, do the Death Wheel next trip. We are going to eat at Cozy Cone next trip.
Yeah. And we just bring that up because things like Death Wheel, Cozy Cone, those are the things where
people are like,
somebody
you have
goes,
to.
You got back from Disneyland? Oh, did you have a Cozy Cone? No, we didn't. Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing it.
Yeah. And because at one point we were walking by and I'm like if I put something in me, I'm going to probably
there was no
like I can't.
From
So,
a convenience standpoint,
Right.
there was no convenient time to eat when
Right.
we were in that area. So we went to head back and kind of walk through Adventures Campus a little bit again, and you got Pym's tasting with the Pym's Test Kitchen inside, which we did not get to dine at as well. Next, it'll be on our Costco list for next time. But we did go to Pym's Tasting Lab. There's some drinks there that Lucy and Caleb love. Over the course of it, they had this blue raz seltzer that they really, really enjoyed. They also had a Endless Summer Cherry Cola hard seltzer. She said was kind of okay. They love the titration tea, which is vodka and Voyage hard tea lemonade with lemonade and wild strawberry syrup for $18.50. And then Lucy really loved the other day when she got the R&D martini. This is espresso martini with cereal infused milk, dark chocolate espresso beans, and cereal crumbles for $20.50 though.
Ooh, good thing we don't drink anymore.
That is like Enchanted Rose.
That is
drink
expensive.
prices. That is crazy. But it is a cool area that they have this outdoor bar. Like, it's one of those places that is still a great place to stop and take a break and people watch an Adventures Campus.
Oh, 100%.
Like, absolutely outstanding there. We went with the Popping Particle Punch, which is their one non-alcoholic beverage. This is non-alcoholic carbonated pineapple hurricane with grenadine and flavor burst for $7.49.
I really
the flavor
liked
bursts
it.
are Pop Rocks.
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
And I really
It's really
enjoyed
good.
this. I don't feel like it was a very like heavy pineapple taste, but it was really good.
It gave me the closest, again, if we want to do comparisons, of that strawberry hibiscus soda that I always get now at Baseline in Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. But then it has these Pop Rocks in it, which let's have Pop Rocks and beverages take over for all these boba.
Yeah, I agree.
I would
agree.
rather bite into one of these than have those squishy boba
I agree.
pearls that get stuck in your straw and all. So from here, we did take breaks every day.
Yes, we did.
Thankfully, because it was going to be needed. Because, again, you got parks are open till midnight at Disneyland Park.
Yes.
And we knew we had a long slate of things. And when you can walk 10 minutes back to your room.
Yeah.
If you walk 10 minutes back to your room and you still stay there for an hour and come back and it takes 10 minutes, That's still under the 90 minutes that they recommend to get from one place to another
Correct.
at Disney World, right?
Correct.
So very, very awesome. So dinner that night, we had booked at Carthay Circle, the lounge portion over in DCA. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the lounge. There's a regular restaurant. The facade of this is currently under construction and refurbishment. So they've got the big sheets in front of it that have an image of Carthay Circle on it.
Right.
You know, like they're doing in Italy right now at the World Showcase.
Yep.
What did you think of the setting? We're kind of like in a downstairs area, like...
It was very Brown Derby-ish.
Just going to say. It has
lounge
most
to me.
Yeah.
Like not lounge because that's the outside, but very
indoor
brown.
side.
Yep.
Those colors, those maroons and some gold accents and dark browns and tans and stuff. Mm-hmm. It feels like 1920s, 30s elegance.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
it was super cool.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. And it was one thing we noticed here too, you know, when we talk about saying it seems like they focus a lot on quality and Disney World is quantity. Like here, they could have put twice as many tables in the lounge.
Yes, they could have.
Than there were.
Yes.
And they would at Disney World.
Yes.
We were not sitting. We had nice space.
Yep.
We weren't sitting on top of people.
Yep.
There was plenty of room. Like, I really liked that portion of it. Mm-hmm. As far as any of the dining we did. You were never just on top of other people. All right. So here, went ahead with they have a rose petal soda. Mm-hmm. That is a non-alcoholic. It's locally sourced, purified, sparkling water flavored with delicate rose essence and garnished with an edible sugar-glazed organic rose petal. $6.50. Mm-hmm. Did you like it? We shared this because you got water again.
Yeah, but I took just a sip. I liked it, but I know you loved it, so I really didn't take that much more sips. But it was really fantastic. I almost ordered one for myself, but again, I needed to drink my water.
Yeah. Like, I could have easily gotten another one, but it's kind of like, why spend $6.50 on this? But it, with that rose and that flavor of rose, it had an essence of that non-alcoholic drink I had at Victoria and Albert's that I loved so much. Yep. That was that rose drink. Mm-hmm. This was, like, can we get rose essence? Can you get that from Amazon?
Maybe.
I'd like to try and get rose essence or syrup and put it in some Sprite or something. And see if it tastes as good as this, because I really did love it.
Okay.
We'll move on to two of the items to eat that Caleb and Lucy had. They really enjoyed. There's a North African roasted chicken breast. Comes with turmeric rice and spicy harissa for $26. They enjoyed. And then I did taste, because Lucy got the Carthay sopes, which are red mole, braised duck, pepitas, and cilantro crema for $24. We both agreed these had good flavor, but they were very dry. There wasn't enough like sauce with them, so they were dry, but the flavors were pretty much there. I have found I don't tend to like mole sauces. I didn't hate this one. This was, and maybe because there wasn't a lot of it, but then it was like I needed more of it because everything was so dry.
Okay.
So what did we order? Because we pulled another kind of, let's get some appetizers and we'll make that a meal.
So we got two things. We got the spring roll with spicy crab, and we got bao buns of soy ginger braised pork belly. So the spring roll was pickled cucumber, edamame, Thai basil for $22. And this was really good, refreshing.
Yeah.
We'll say the word clean again. Yep. But my favorite was the bao buns of soy ginger braised pork belly with cucumber kimchi for $19. There was two of these, and I kind of wish there was more. Yeah. I would have eaten both of these, in my opinion, over the spring roll.
Oh, okay. Well, we should have done that because I really liked the bao buns. It tastes like something you'd get at one of the festivals. I thought it was delicious. I thought the pork belly was cooked perfectly. It was nice and tender. The cucumber kimchi was a great balance. The bun was perfectly steamed. I loved it. I loved that spring roll.
Did you? Okay.
It was so light. It was so refreshing. It was a light, refreshing, clean break amidst all of the food that we would eat. Yeah. Because a lot of what we ate was rich. It was heavy. We ate a lot of sweets. So I loved this thing. Like if that was in front of me right now, I would just down that whole thing. I thought it was outstanding. So we did not get any dessert there because we were in DCA. We did Salt and Straw the night before. We got to do our due diligence, right? So what did we go and do for dessert?
We went to Clarabelle's ice cream.
Yeah.
And we got a dipped waffle cone, because there were cups as well, with a single scoop for $7.29, and I got cookies and cream. And what did you get?
I just got strawberry. So there's no like crazy flavors here. This is very standard. It was Dreyer's ice cream, right? It wasn't Breyer's.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was like spelled the same, I think, but with a D is the ice cream. It's good ice cream. It's pretty standard, like
I liked
ice cream
mine a
soft.
lot.
Yeah, I hadn't had strawberry ice cream in a long time. I like strawberry ice cream. I think it's really good. But I missed. I think like salt and straws ruined me in a sense where I always just want something with more. You know what I mean? Like if this had been strawberry and then it had like
and
chunks
we have
of real
a Wits
strawberry
here
and
that
mint, or you know what I mean?
But we have a Wits here that
Yeah,
I think
they mix in a lot of stuff.
ruined you, and you're
Probably.
just
Yeah, I just don't want a plain ice cream anymore.
which is weird.
But I did enjoy it. What I enjoyed more was this night, Lucy went right next door there at Trolley Treats. She got the churro toffee,
Yes,
which is another one that everybody says you got to try.
We did,
Right?
but we should have gotten more.
Okay, what is churro toffee?
It is toffee enrobed in white chocolate coating covered in cinnamon and sugar for $8.29.
It's everything that everyone has ever said. It is one of the best Disney-related sweets I've ever had. And
We should have brought
I
it
wish
home.
we had brought like a box home of it or something. It is outstanding.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
I
And
know.
we'll talk later because we might have gotten one again. All right. From there, went and rode Soarin'.
Yep.
This was under one of our lightning lanes. They are currently, now it's back. It should be back to Soarin' around the world because they were doing Soarin' over California for the DCA Food and Wine Festival.
Which was really cool because we
I'm
were
glad
in
that
California.
that's the one that was
Yep.
happening while we were there.
Yeah.
Now, we did see it when they brought it for a limited time, of course, here recently to Disney World. It is the same one. What do you think of this ride as it compares to ours? The queue is different. You go through, like some history of flying, a little bit of an area?
The queue is
Yeah.
super cool.
So much better
I
queue.
love the queue.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Yeah, and it's just, I mean, I only prefer Soarin' Over the World because of the way it transitions. Where these transitions are just
There aren't any.
not.
Yeah. It's George Lucas original Star Wars. Well, actually, it's not even that inventive. At least he used like wipes and stuff. You know what I mean? Like this is just boom.
Yeah.
And I think there's too many scenes. I think there's just too
There's
many.
a
So
lot
some
of
of them are. I know there
California.
is.
So
It's a perfect.
it's
marketing-
shocking that there's not more scenes in the world
Yeah, that could be.
where they just go boom, 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 boom.
I'm so glad it's not.
Because I mean, Soaring Over the World. I mean,
You get to spend some time though. And
Yeah.
again, one thing that I think we found out there, everything feels more fast paced for some reason. And that makes it feel more fast paced when you're just going from
Yeah.
scene to scene. It should be a marketing video for California because the fact that you can get everything from beaches to mountains and everything in between is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, California is an incredible state of what you want to go and see and do. It's got every possible thing you could imagine.
Yep.
So for that part, it does a wonderful job. I personally will just never find it better than Soaring Around the World. And we're few and far between of people that think that. But all right, let's move on to World of Color. So this is the 22-minute outdoor nighttime spectacular for California Adventure. It's right there on Paradise Bay. So you got to find locations around Paradise Bay to watch it. We were on the other side where you're facing the Death Wheel and all, and that's the backdrop, which is super cool.
it was.
They do it noon every day. They do a virtual queue where you can get some better seating. We didn't end up using it this night, but I think we grabbed a virtual queue the next day, but we didn't end up going watching. So this is one, a lot is going to depend on your seating and where you're at. You really want to be as close to the water as possible because
So then you
it
could
all
get
happens.
wet.
Well, yeah, but it all happens on the water.
Yes.
And so where we were having people stand in front of you, you are going to miss what I'll just call ground effects. But
Yeah.
you can still see a lot of this happening. This uses 1,200 fountains that can project water up to 200 feet in the air, makes giant projector screens, basically. This is all projections, lights, and water fountains.
And that's where you could get wet because of the wind.
Yeah, the wind will
blowing.
blow at you there. What did you think of world of color.
Well, it was really cool because where we were at, there was, I guess, like a ledge basically, and it was roped off area, which was weird because I don't know what that was for, and you couldn't stand there. But the cast members said, like, when we were not standing on it, but you could kneel on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, this is great because of me where I was. I couldn't really see. So once I got up there, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. And it was funny because that was the only time, for the one and only time throughout the entire weekend, where a family left and another guy came in and was like, hey, you can stand here, and then put his daughters standing right in front of me.
Yeah, directly in front of you and
Right,
Lucy. Like,
right in front of me where
Yeah.
I could not see. So I had to like look or like move around and kneel up, and I was like, and then I think I just got down and moved because I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe he did this.
Yeah.
So that was a little distracting, unfortunately, but I thought it was really cute and I enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anything so I just thought it was good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. What'd you think?
It's all right. But like you can probably add this to the hate mail. I don't like water projection screens. I think it's lazy.
Okay.
Sorry. But where this makes up for it is the soundtrack. It is the fact that these things shoot 200 feet in the air. It's the lighting. It's the backdrop of Pixar Pier and the Death Wheel and seeing Incredicoaster go up on its loop. Like, so it makes up for what I think is just kind of subpar with those things. But the Star Wars scene and the lightsaber scene and then the Avengers scene moving into like a finale were, I thought, outstanding. I think if the whole show had the same energy that those two portions had, it would be a much better show.
Okay.
Or maybe there is the addition of some fireworks in the background. Or it does a heck of a lot better job than, you remember the Jungle Book show that was short-lived over at Animal Kingdom?
Yeah.
On the river there?
Yeah.
Like, that was literally like, we'll get a couple little light up floats and then we'll just do a whole screen of water and show scenes from the Jungle Book live action.
Yeah.
This at least went far beyond that.
Yes.
I just don't like the water screens. That's all.
Okay.
So, but it is a very good show.
I liked it.
I just wouldn't be hard pressed to see it like all the time the way I'd want to watch a Happily Ever After.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
100%.
All right. I think we kind of just went around a little bit, maybe did some more shopping and walked around, and then Lucy and Caleb decided they were going to call it a night.
Yep.
You and I decided we would head over to Disneyland Park and do a few more things.
Yeah.
But first, we grabbed a last-minute lightning lane to Monsters, Inc., Mike and Sully to the rescue.
Yes.
It is a dark ride that is on the California Adventure side.
Yep.
So we did that before heading over back to Disneyland Park. After they left, what did you think of the Monsters, Inc. ride?
I loved that ride. That was so fun and made me super excited for Monsters, Inc. Land coming to World.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's super cute.
So you're in a taxi cab vehicle. We had one to ourselves, which was nice. They didn't put anybody else with us. And you're going through scenes from Monster, Inc., the movie. But I like the way they did Randall.
Yeah.
There's a cool effect with Randall kind of being the chameleon, monster and showing up and disappearing and all in the colors. You go into, though, the doors scene with all the doors on their little system, what we're going to technically kind of get with the door coaster, but it uses mirrors to make this room look almost endless.
It's so cool.
And all these doors are flying around above you just like the movie. I thought that scene just blew me away.
Yeah.
I thought it was the coolest freaking thing.
Yeah.
The only one with this, and we'll talk more about it, I think, with tomorrow, with the day 2 of the parks. I wish the animatronics had more movement. They're more statues than animatronics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got into a lot of these dark rides, which Disneyland between the two parks has tons of, and I think it's wonderful. But there's not like animatronic moving mouths or faces or whatever. Now, I would still prefer static faces than the projection junk that they did for those couple years. So I'm glad it at least wasn't that.
Yeah.
So we headed over to Disneyland Park, and we were going to basically head to Tomorrowland and try and knock out just a couple things there. What did we go to first over in Tomorrowland?
Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters.
Yep.
So this was super fun. This is different. I mean, first of all, this opened in 2005, but ours over at World opened in 1998.
Yeah.
So ours opened first, which this did remind me of ours opening first and then them doing it better.
Then doing an improvement on
Yes.
it. Yes. What's that improvement?
Well, then they're going to fix ours, which the guns you get to hold and they come out. They're still attached, but they come out and you can hold it and it's easier to
point and shoot.
Yeah. It's still weird because you can move the thing and we forgot we could, I think, halfway through.
Move the cart around. It still has that spinning thing.
Yep.
But I think you're so much focused now that you're able to remove the gun.
Yeah.
I thought the moving gun was going to make this so much better. It doesn't do anything to make the ride better.
No. But it was fun. I mean, Buzz Lightyear is always like, it's always fun when I ride it. I never really do well, and I don't love it. Like I like Toy Story Mania and then now Web Slingers.
Right.
But it was fun.
Hopefully they get the treatment that we're going to get in Disney World with the better removable guns, with the laser system, the light up stuff. Like hopefully, I'm guessing they'll do that there next. But to me, it was basically the same ride. You just got to pick up the gun. I didn't think it was easier to do is what I was thinking. Yeah. Right. So from there, right next door to it is Star Wars. The adventure continues. Theirs opened first in 87. We got ours in 89, back when it was MGM Studios. So I guess there's really no difference other than here's where I give the nod to it's a copycat.
This again, when I was on it and when I was when I got off of it, it was so similar that I felt like I'd be walking out to Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. To me, our version in Hollywood Studios only gets the nod because of the outdoor queue area that looks like an old studio, and it's got the big giant life-size AT-AT, and it's got some of that forestry outside. This doesn't have that.
Right.
Other than that, they're the exact same ride. So ours just edges it out because of that outdoor queue. All right. From there, we decided to check out Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage.
And Jeremy reminded me that this is basically like 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And I know we had this in World.
Yep.
It has gone away.
Yes, now where New Fantasyland sits.
So,
and where Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is.
Yeah. So with all this being said, I'm like super excited because I was like thinking maybe I'll remember if I ever rode 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which I don't know that I ever did once I got in here. But when I got in here, I just couldn't just stop laughing. I mean, this is, talk about a submarine like a clown car.
Yeah, man. They stick 40 people. You get in a submarine with no frills or anything into it. And
the seats fold up.
Yeah, you have to climb down into it on very narrow spiral staircase that's all metal. Everything is so compact that the seats are folded up. So by the time you get into your seat, you squeeze into where your seat is. You have to fold it down to sit. And
Jeremy 6'3" could not stand up at all.
Yeah. It's not like a movie theater where or even like, going to see the play last night at the high school.
Yeah.
It's not like you can get up and just edge your way in front of people while they still say sitting.
No.
You couldn't even do it if they stood up. Everybody would have to exit. There's just a tiny little porthole in front of you that I have to bend pretty much in half to look out. And they shove 40 people in this thing. And I'm just sitting there like, if stuff goes south, what is going to happen? If 40 people need to get out of this sub for any reason, we're all dead. You're going to be kicking and clawing over people. And then they close the latch. You can hear it like lock. We're not really going underwater, folks, okay? You don't have to.
But we already are.
Yes. A portion of it that you are looking out is underwater, but the rest of it never submerges.
Correct.
They make it look that way with the window. And you toy around this big, 6 million gallon water tank.
Yeah.
That uses projections inside, that has some scenery.
Yeah.
It's, you've got the commentary going and the windows bubble up when you're supposed to be diving down more. if you can take your mind off all of that, I still wouldn't ride it.
I just kept laughing and laughing and laughing.
I mean, if water started leaking through one of those porthole windows, what's going to happen? Even though I know it's not technically all underwater. Is there a mechanism that just shoots it right up or something to the surface? I don't know. But it was horrifying.
hysterical.
Yeah.
I just laughed.
Glad I did it. Never want to do that again.
I was fine. Like, I would do it again, but even with me being as short as I was, the porthole, like my neck, and I'm not gonna lie, like I hurt. Like I was like I'm glad I didn't do it for any longer.
Oh, my back hurt. My neck.
Yeah, it was.
And again, it's lengthy.
It was funny because like I did it and I would do it again for somebody else. I wouldn't do it again for myself. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. You
like
would
if
go
there was
to
kids
like,
or
and they want to do it and you go, okay, I'll do
Right.
it. I want to see their reaction.
Right.
I want to see if they hyperventilate. Because it is horrifying.
It was funny.
Yeah. And then, you know how you get stuck on ride? Can you imagine getting stuck on that? If halfway around and like, or for
No,
some
I wouldn't laugh anymore.
Like, I don't know what the evacuation situation is. There's got to be one, obviously, but how long do you get stuck on that before they say, okay, we need to do an evacuation situation where we open the latches and start letting people out? I mean, I wouldn't be able to last in there very long. By about
seriously.
15 minutes in, I'd be looking around like, all right, who are we eating first? Okay. When things go south, which they're going to, we've been stuck in here 15 minutes. It's felt like 15 days. I've grown a beard. I didn't have this beard when I got in here. This is horrifying. Who are we eating first? So, did anybody bring snacks on board? What are we doing here? So, can we even call for help? I didn't even look to see if my phone had any.
I don't.
You're in a giant steel coffin underwater. Mm-hmm. Whose idea was this?
I don't know.
Now, we were safe in there. But we did decide that for our last ride of the evening, we would go straight to HELL because we did Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Yeah. I was super excited because I wanted to see if I would remember the one in Disney World when it was there.
I'm pretty sure I never rode it because I think I would have remembered it.
I think I did, but wow, it was crazy.
In their description, they say you're going to zig and zag in a motor car.
Uh-huh.
This zig and zag is probably a good explanation of what you do.
With Thaddeus Toad on a manic drive through the countryside.
There was countryside? This is...
You get hit by a...
In the end, you get hit by a train and you die.
Yeah.
And you go down south.
Not
to Florida.
Not to Orlando or the Keys.
It's much further. It's I don't know what to compare it to because it's...
You can't.
You just laugh. There's so much happening and it's so quick and it's so just like, what is going on? This is a ride.
What is happening?
Yeah, I'm inside of a Disney park right now on this thing. This is nuts. I loved it because of that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And again, it's another one of those, all of these rides towards the end of the night, the park's staying open late. We got back to the room around 11:30. Mm-hmm. We didn't stay till park closed that night. But they're so accessible. Mm-hmm. And when you hear about, I can't remember if it's the next episode or the one after that we did a whole bunch of those Fantasyland rides. The way, like, Grand Fiesta Tour, we talked about this plenty of times. People say, refurb it, put Coco in there. You can't.
Right.
There's going to be nowhere to put the people, and you need these rides that people can get on most anytime they want under a 15-minute wait.
Right.
And Disneyland has so many of them that even if you don't, I mean, look at this. We did what did that end up being? Monsters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We did 5 rides to end the night. I bet easily in under an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and none of them were big major rides. None of them were like Radiator Racers or a Mission Breakout or anything. They're simple, dark rides that you can do, and they just make you feel better about your day. Now, to finish, a wonderful listener, Allison, had actually Venmo'd us $25 ahead of time and said, thank you so much. She said, here is for a treat. I'm so glad you guys are in Disneyland. Love it there. Here's to go get a treat at Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe. So we decided to stop there on the way out. We did not just get one treat. We did not just get 2. I believe we got 5 or 6.
Yes.
Let's start with the first one. What is the first treat? I picked this one out.
Yeah, and I don't know if did I taste this one?
I don't know.
You ate a lot of it. Anyways,
yes, but then Lucy recommended it later. She's like, "Did you get?" And we're like, "Yeah, I got that."
The banoffee tart.
Yeah.
So this is graham tart shell filled with a layer of dulce leche, caramel, banana, cream, and fresh bananas, topped with vanilla bean, chantilly, and toffee bits for $7.79.
You know I love a tart.
Yes, I do.
And this is a standard
And
Disney
this is
tart.
a banana tart with
and
caramel.
toffee and caramel.
It
is outstanding.
Yeah.
Refrigerate it. I never refrigerated it, so it is. I think if it was denser or tighter from a refrigerator, it would just be a little bit better because the texture is very soft, almost like a pudding.
Mm-hmm.
But the tart is crispy. I thought it was great. All those flavors are perfectly done and perfectly mixed together.
Mm-hmm.
Move on to the next one. This is one that everybody says you gotta go get this.
Yep, and we got the Matterhorn macaroon for $5.29. I did not like this because it was coconut.
Yeah, and it's a little coconut macaroon mountain with some icing on top. It was fine. This is one of those, and it's very dry.
Yeah.
It's just one of those. I'm like, why is everybody saying you have to get this? I don't have to do anything. But
I would.
Next,
You have
to get the next.
You
one.
have to get the next one.
Yeah.
And Rachel would have been very proud. It was a Donald macaroon. This is filled with cherry, buttercream, and vanilla bean cream for $8.29. This daggum thing was fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved this. I ate quite a bit of it and was like, wanted another one, to be honest.
Well, this or the other one, the Raspberry Rose Mickey.
Yes.
Right. This is luscious raspberry rose, cream filled, complemented by fresh raspberries, $7.79. That's
these
the rose
two
macaroon.
macaroons.
Get these.
Yes.
I thought the rose one was outstanding.
If not a couple of them.
Yeah, a couple of them. And then we got a Mickey shaped sugar cookie. It's pretty standard, big mix.
Shortbread cookie,
with,
$5.29. Big
sprinkles on top. It's a good sugar cookie.
It is great.
But this is one that I think we played very well on our first night to grab a bag full of treats and have in the room.
Yes.
Because we still gnawed on these pretty
did.
much till the last day.
Yes, we did.
So it was just a perfect way, I felt like, to end the day, head back to the room. So let's kind of recap a few things. I take it out of everything we did on that day, is Web Slingers your favorite ride?
Yeah.
Even over some of the classics and getting to experience them for the first time? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It was amazing.
I thought it was so fun.
Fun.
Even though I was awful at it, I just enjoyed it.
I loved it.
I thought it was a blast. So, I think I'd almost put that up there. My
favorite snack was the churros.
Churro toffee for me.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Those churros were good too. What if we just eat them together? Let's break up a churro toffee on top of the creme brulee.
Oh, that
would be good. That first hour where we walked down Main Street for the first time. We saw the castle for the first time. We went and did Jungle Cruise. We did Pirates. We did Haunted. We did Tiana's. Like, that morning was so perfect. And then the rest of the day was amazing. But it was once we were done, I think, that morning, coming out of Oga's, I was like looking at my watch, and it's like 11 o'clock. And I'm like, if this is how this trip is going to be, this is going to be one of the best trips of our entire life. Because nowhere in that first 2-3 hours of doing stuff was I like, oh God, this is already exhausting. This is so much. Yeah. We're running around. It was just perfect. It was the most perfect day one.
Yep.
And then they would probably just get better as we go on. So if you want to hear about our day two, that is going to include some more rides, including our first ever time on Mission Breakout. And I think you guys are going to be very interested to hear what we have to say about it. Sat down, had actual meal at Lamplight Lounge. We caught Phantasmic. If you want to hear all about our day 3, which is day 2 on the parks and all over at Disneyland, make sure you hit subscribe so you can get the brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Are you planning a Disney or Universal vacation? Make it seamless with Vacation Grocery Delivery. They deliver fresh groceries right to your resort so you can skip the store and start your vacation as soon as possible. We absolutely love using their service. There's no price markups on items, and they've never canceled an order like some of those other services. Plus, their team is comprised of former Disney cast members who ensure top-notch service. And we want to give a big thank you to Vacation Grocery Delivery for being the sponsor of this year's Main Street 16 Challenge Weekend. Visit VacationGroceryDeliveryFL.com to place your order and tell them Main Street Magic sent you. And then, of course, both Rhonda and myself would be super happy if you could please leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.